Good morning, everyone. How many of us drive in university? Okay, good. How many of us drive safely in university? Lies. Good. It's good that you actually believe in yourself that you're safe drivers, but lately there was an incident that happened in university. A professor passed away, and this was because of a car accident. Yes, it's sad, but it was actually caused because of rash driving. It was not done on, the driver was not actually aware of her surroundings, or his or her surroundings, and that's how the accident happened. And this was told to me by the inspector of the University City Police Station. So today, I'm going to try and persuade my audience by actually becoming safer drivers in AUS. How am I going to do this? Firstly, I'm going to say the problems of rash driving. That's speeding, unnecessary overtaking in university, stopping in between the roads, and sudden swerves. And then going on, we move to the causes. What causes these irrational thoughts of driving, and what makes us do these things of rash driving. And then finally I come to solutions as to how we can become better drivers. So I shall begin with the problems. Firstly, speeding. What is speeding? Speeding is when you go faster than the speed limit given to you according to regulations of RTA. Now, university city roads have a speed limit of 40 kilometers per hour. I've not gone that slow on speed breakers, but yeah. And most of us really don't follow the speed rule. Like, many of us actually go over for a speed limit. But what is the problem with this speeding? Firstly, according to an article published by HRAR, they are a reputed firm for safety of driving and management, safety driving management. They posted an article and they have mentioned that speeding reduces your reaction time to make any action while you drive. And as per your speed increases, your reaction time decreases. Reaction time is how long you take to make decisions on what you do next while you drive. Now, this reaction time is really important. If someone walks up to the road or some pedestrian crosses the road, you use your reaction time. And when you're fasting, you actually have no reaction time. And now, as we speak of speeding, there's another situation that comes with speeding, that's overtaking. Many cars stop in between the road in AUS, especially in these kind of roads where there's only two lanes coming and going. And obviously, we have to overtake if a car stops in between. But when you overtake, you have the problems as speeding, as well as you come up with new problems. Firstly, overtaking has a major problem of reduced peripheral vision. And reduced peripheral vision means your view of the surroundings. So you basically won't be able to see a pedestrian in front of the car, in front of the car, or beside you, or any car coming from the other side, because there's another car blocking your view. And this is another problem with overtaking. Now, moving on, as I mentioned, stopping in between the road. This alone is a problem, basically because the cars right in between the road, it's causing hindrance to the traffic. And also, it causes more situations where you have to do sudden swerves, or you will have to make an overtake, which actually is a problem. And then, moving on, sudden swerves. This is actually very not so well-known problem, but it is really one of the most important problems in the US. Sudden swerves is when you make quick right or left turns without actually making without making the drivers behind you or in front of you aware that you're going to make a turn. These cause also problems because you're speeding and you're making quick turns. Again, you'll be causing hindrance to the pedestrians also. Now let's talk about why these problems come up. Firstly, there's the problem of awareness, mental fatigue. AUS students in particular have this main problem, that's mental fatigue. We are usually waking up early in the morning, we usually wake up early in the morning to come for classes, and we are usually tired, or we are usually exhausted from the previous day's work. And this actually causes our mental awareness to decrease. And also another mental awareness problem is texting and driving. Many of us actually have done, and as I've spoken to the inspector at the University City Police Station, he had mentioned that many people have been texting and driving, and it comes to their attention that they can see them texting and driving too. Another situation that causes the problem is peer pressure. We are university students, and our friends usually pressure us into making such decisions of going into rash driving. They force us into making harsh decisions like making quick turns or overtaking. And it also comes, and there was also a study done by the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and State Farm, that they've mentioned that peer pressure is one of the major reasons. Most of the accidents happen between teenagers because of peer pressure. Now, what would be the solutions to these problems that I've brought up? It's simple. Firstly, speeding. Don't speed. I mean, speeding is not good. You can't, it has done nothing good. And if you think you're going to be late for any sort of, as speeding is done because you're being late for most of the thing, if you're going to think you're going to be late for something, wake up earlier. Leave earlier and make sure you leave early. Tell your mom or dad to wake you up earlier and come early for classes or meeting your friends or whatever it is that you need to do. Secondly, stopping in between the road. You really don't need to stop in between the road because right beside the road there's parking lots. And if you don't want to use those parking lots, there's free parking 1 and free parking 2. And all you need to do is barely 5-minute walk to wherever you have to go to. And now overtaking. Overtaking is not really necessary, but it is necessary at times when a car stops in front of you. And you only overtake when the car has legally, according to RTA regulations, you can only overtake if the car is slower than you in front of you. And in the case of university, which is less than 40 kilometers per hour, you can't possibly go slower than that. And otherwise, if the car is completely stopped in front of you. And in which many cases you see in SBA that many cars actually stop in front of the school, and they wait there to pick their friends up or whatever it is. In this situation, you can overtake, but make sure you're aware of your surroundings. Make sure you're aware of the pedestrians who are going to cross the road. Make sure you're aware of the car that's coming from the other side of the road too. And even make sure of the cars that are behind you. Maybe they want to overtake the car in front of you. And now moving on, and then sudden swerves. Sudden swerving is a problem that can only be seen mostly when you're taking turns from roundabouts or into parking lots. Best solution for sudden swerve, use an indicator. There's this fancy button on the side of your steering wheel which you can just push up or down to go right or left. Use it. You can make sure that people who are walking are aware that you're going to take a right, and you will make sure that the drivers are aware that you're going to take a turn sooner or later. But the most important of them all, be mentally aware. Stay awake. Be aware of who's going to make a turn next. Be aware of what's going to happen next. Be aware of who's coming from the other side. Be aware of pedestrians who are going to cross the road. And so finally, we really want to be a safe driver. All of us really need to be safe drivers in US. We really need to stop becoming rash drivers, because later on in the future we need it for ourselves and for our families. And we also being safe drivers, we reduce the dangers caused to other people on the roads. It's more safer for everyone else too. So I hope I persuaded my audience to become safer drivers. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
Are you like?
Are you a safe driver?
Hmm?
Are you a safe driver?
No, not really. Now I am.
Do you think it's enough to tell people what they already know they should do?
Well, they think they already know it, but
They do know it, but they don't do
They
it.
don't do it.
I doubt that anyone in this class doesn't know that they should use flashers or they should
Yeah.
use their
Yeah,
signals.
exactly.
They do know it. So you telling them to do it, is that going to actually change anything?
It
In
should-
your opinion?
It should, I mean, it should make them aware of it.
But technically they are aware of it. So can you think maybe of more radical solutions that we can have? Since we're talking about death on campus, we're not just talking about bumper to bumper or, we're talking people, and it's not just the students, by the way. Perhaps the worst are the taxi drivers. I don't know if you've noticed how they speed through campus, but they do, and they don't stop for pedestrians. So can you think of more radical solutions that would involve AUS doing something about this?
Yeah, okay, the road infrastructure is, I mean, it's pretty small roads over here and on the side of it.
Maybe something a bit more practical than changing all the roads.
Bumpers, new
More
drop-off-
bumpers?
Drop-off zones. More
Drop-off zones, radars on campus? I would like to see radars on campus.
There are some.
Yeah.
There's everywhere.
Yeah. I want people to be severely punished for almost hitting students, to be honest.
Yes.
I feel very strongly about that.
Some students asked for it, to be honest.
I can think of
Students.
one. Right to the top of my head. I can think of one. Thank you. So any other questions for him?
I think it's just a issue of.
Yeah.